escuchando?
Yo, también.
Sí. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
No sé.
Actividad 21. ¿Qué hay?
Why is that triggering me?
I was just gonna say, you fucking
It's very...
sent me back about 7 years.
You don't remember actividades de escuchares or whatever? Listening activities in Spanish class?
Oh, yeah, that thing.
The one that we made fun of all the time was, there was just this one where the title of the thing was KI. So, and he just said it exactly like that. And we all worked on our impression of the native Spanish speaker clearly trying to dumb down his voice for Americans. Actividad 21. KI. Just fucking... Oh, Lord. It was fun. Good old Spanish class.
Did your school offer any other languages, Brian?
Yes.
Ooh.
We offered French.
Huh.
That's it, though.
We were Spanish
or German
or bust.
or Chinese. We were about to go Spanish or bust, and then the parent of a French student got very up in arms and single-handedly kept the program alive, which, I guess, whatever, man. Good for you.
The system works.
They're like, we can't eliminate these other languages. America is a country of culture and respect.
I mean, there was legitimately, like, 8 French students total. Like, it was questionable for sure to keep it along. So, and a lot of Spanish students, obviously. Like, there were, I think, 3 sections of Spanish 1 and 2, because those were the ones required to graduate. You needed 2 credits of foreign language. And then at least, like, 2 sections of 3. And then in Spanish 4 is when it became, like, boom or bust. It's only one game in town.
Ours was kind of the same way. I forget if you needed 1 year or if you like also needed the second one to graduate, but as soon as you got past the requirements, it just I think the last 2 years of Spanish it was the same, like 8 or 10 people.
I think it was 1 year mandatory, but a lot of people took 2 because that was the recommended for college applications.
Sure.
Yeah, but as soon as it, wasn't even suggested, the great people of Berlin, Wisconsin just kind of dropped out and turns out didn't care about speaking the language of another people.
I might be outing myself here, but I absolutely should not have got an A in those higher tier Spanish courses.
I mean, none of us did. Like, the only 2 people that deserved to get good grades in the Spanish class were the 2 native-speaking Spanish kids that we had in the class with us. Because they fucking taught the class to us a second time. There was the Spanish teacher who would say all this stuff, and then we'd be like, Raphael, can you, like, help me out with this? And he's like, yeah.
Jesus. So...
Valerie, can you explain what she said? Yeah.
There was a whole thing with that where there was a couple of native Spanish speakers that were not allowed to take Spanish class.
Oh.
Yeah. They were like, this isn't, like, they're like, you're not allowed to do this. And they were like, yeah, I guess.
That seems unfair.
I mean, it's definitely a weird zone, right?
I mean,
it would be just free
you could just
grades.
Easily say, yeah. Because on the one hand, like, it is a class that is meant to teach people that do not know how to speak the language how to just get by. But, they could just easily say, like, well, you guys teach fucking English.
Okay, hold on.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously those 2 things are different.
If we got into the equivalent of a high school English course in high school Spanish, we would be fucking geniuses.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, high school Spanish is meant for people that need to kind of get by and understand, like, a rudimentary, ability of Spanish. Which, if you're a native Spanish speaker, you kind of already know that shit.
Easily.
It would be like if one of us took an English as a second language course,
Yeah. So that,
but like at the same time, like how do you just tell these people like you weren't born here? You're not allowed to.
no,
take
they were
this
born
class.
here. They absolutely were. They were all Hispanics whose family was bilingual. Like they taught them both languages growing up, which I would do if I were truly bilingual, and I hope like my brother, for example, does if he ever has kids, because like that's a really valuable thing. And they were just like, you're literally a fluent Spanish speaker. You like read books in Spanish. Like, no, we're not allowing you to take this class.
No, the two Spanish-speaking native Spanish speakers that were in the class with us were not from America. They were born in Mexico.
Got it.
And then moved here when they were very young, but
still, that sounds like the same thing then, right? Like, if they grew up with both languages, then yeah, it's a little weird to take one. Like, that's clearly not meant for you. I mean, look, like, I don't know. If there was someone who was like a borderline professional 3D animator, would they like be allowed to take the 3D animation course at my high school? I don't know. Honestly, could not tell you.
You had a 3D animation course at your high school?
Yeah, we did.
What the fuck?
It was pretty rudimentary, not gonna lie.
You know what we had, Ryan?
I don't know.
We had outdoor survival as a class.
Hey, that's a class.
Yeah, no, it should have been, but we just watched goddamn movies.
Oh, you never went outside.
I mean, we did a couple of times, but it was kind of like a bad winter, and they're like, guys, it's really wet outside. Like, I'm like, but isn't this the whole fucking point?
That's kind of outdoor survival.
Yeah, they're like, guys, like, we got snow last night, so we're not going to have class. We're going to watch the movie where people survive in the tundra. I'm like, this is horseshit. I'm like, what? Why aren't we out there right now? And they're like, well, you wouldn't be able to start a fire. Like,
wait,
yeah,
that's the
but
point.
you're supposed to teach us how to do that.
Did you guys watch Into the Wild in outdoor survival?
No. What did we?
I mean,
watch?
That wasn't really survival. That was outdoor death.
But we didn't even watch.
Pretty dark. I just finished that book.
We didn't even watch like, I don't know, like survival shows. We watched movies that were tangentially related to survival. So the first one, obvious one, classic, Castaway. Maybe not the most relevant.
Yeah, who the fuck is gonna use that in Berlin, Wisconsin?
And then the next one was, I forget the name of the movie, but it was about the rugby team that crashed into the Andes Mountains.
I know.
When they had to like eat each other. Like good, two good movies. Whatever. And then there was a couple other like random how-to videos that we watched put on by like local like EMS people and like how to survive in these situations, whatever. Then the last thing that we watched was fucking Finding Nemo. And I lost my goddamn mind.
They gave up on that.
Because I'm like, right now, I looked at the syllabus. Right now, we're supposed to be fishing. We are supposed to be fishing, people. And we are watching Finding Nemo. Next week, we're supposed to be learning how to do archery. Are we going to watch Robin Hood?
Yeah. The animated movie.
Of this shit. Yeah. We had like a handful of times where we went out and learned useful shit. Go and make a shelter in the woods. Like, okay, fine, whatever. That was fun. That was good. And like, okay, now we're going to go to this area and fish. Like, we're just going to bring our, regular poles and tackle boxes and bait. This doesn't feel super survival-y, but, okay. Like, okay, we're going to teach archery, and you just shoot at targets. So, fine. We got compound bows that you just brought in on a truck, but whatever. And then, a couple other times they're like, go start a fire. Fuck it. Like, okay, fine.
Go. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Hey, you pieces of shit. Go start a fire.
We're setting you loose in the woods. Yeah. Go start a fire.
We're sending you out into nature and hoping you don't burn shit down.
Yeah. But then they're like, the weather's not nice. We're going to watch a movie. I was so mad.
So you're saying the class did not prepare you to win a season of Survivor?
No.
Well.
Do you know how to like make fire from scratch, or what? You made fire with matches? How'd you make fire?
We used kindling, and the idea was that we were supposed to initially start a fire with like sticks, not matches, like or a fire like that. Yeah, and when we all inevitably failed because they finally let us outside even though it was still downpour rain.
Oh, Jesus.
They're like, make a fire with these 2 wet ass sticks. they gave us like striking flint, and then we kind of got it going.
But you never got to like go back out there with drier wood and try to actually.
No.
Couldn't they have set up like, I don't know, an enclosure and provided you with dry wood and like done things?
You would think, Ryan.
I don't know. I just feel bad. That's terrible.
You would think. Because it was the class that I was most excited to take my senior year. Because I'm like, this is going to be cool. Like, I'm going to be able to get out of class or like get out of the building and go do shit that's going to be like fun. And, if I want to go like camping and backpacking someday, these are all going to be skills that are useful. Like, obviously not planning to take this thinking that I will be in a plane crash and then have to make my way out of Nova Scotia. But still, like something that I could, enjoy.
But had
you ever... We're going to watch movies.
Had you ever heard any rumblings about the class, though? Like, I feel like there should have been warnings.
Yeah.
That,
it was taught by a different teacher that year, and so everything was fucked up. Everyone else that had taken it was like, this is the coolest shit, and so I was really excited.
Yeah. Like, for example, for me, it was PE 12. It was like senior year Phi Ed was like the notorious coolest class in the school. Like, you would take field trips to the bowling alley and like do archery and like a million different sports, and like you would actually get to like play like games and sports and shit in Phi Ed versus just like, all right everybody, like pacer test time. Like it was just it was like a for fun Phi Ed, and everyone knew that it was like that's the one.
We had the same thing. It was open for seniors. Like Phi Ed. Lucas, did you take that one?
I think I had to because that was the band alternate.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the survival class and the like fun senior Phi Ed class, I think were on like at the same time, the semester or trimester that I took it. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't take both.
Oh God, that makes it
I
even
chose
worse.
The survival one, and then it just ended up not living up to expectations whatsoever.
Oh no. If it makes you feel any better, the 3D animation class was taught by Mr. Gronley, who was the boys' assistant basketball coach. I think it was a scam. This was the only class where he would openly like watch you play games and like enjoy the fact that you were playing computer games in his class. He would constantly like break out board games and just play board games with students during the class. And obviously no one's gonna complain because it's fucking sick. Literally, like, he would give you video. Like, we had, like, 4 quote-unquote 3D projects that we had to animate, or, like, create and then animate. Only one of them involved any form of animation, which is a stage that no one got to. Like, that was the final stage. It's actually, like, making the parts that you had created move. And it was literally a dude, not Mr. Gronley, like, explaining how to animate every single thing step by step. Like, where it was literally just copying him. Like, it was like... All right, we're going to insert a shape. Click insert shape. Then set the size to 25 by 36. Like, it was literally
so wait, was this like another dude that came in, or was it like a video?
It was a video. You pulled it up on your computer, you pulled it alongside your like 3ds Max, the program we were using, and copied him step by step. Like, and then when you were done, you'd show Mr. Gronley and he'd be like, looks good. And then you'd move on to the next project. And like there were 4 throughout the entire, I can't remember if it was a quarter or a semester. And like you would get to a certain point and you just say, hey, how's this look? And he'd be like, yeah, that's good. You can move on to the next one. You'd be like halfway done. Like, and the only one that animated was the very last one, which was an RC car. And I think I got the farthest amongst all my friends. And I worked on it for like one class.
Oh no!
Like there was one class where I was like, oh wait, this would actually be kind of cool. Like this one actually has animation and shit involved. So I like kind of put my nose to the grindstone and finished modeling the car in one class period. And then like I was like, okay, next I'll animate it next class period. But next class period there was like an epics. I don't know if you guys ever played the is it No, not Roblox. What's the game with the little the different sized like Tetris blocks? And it's like a 4-player game, and it's a square, and you have to like try to get the most territory. You know? Fuck, what's that game called?
I can imagine it, but I don't have the name either.
I have no idea what
Okay,
you're talking
so
about.
Mr. Gronley was like the king of that game. Like he had like leaderboards in his classroom and stuff where he'd play, and like
Jesus
he was
Christ.
super like obviously like favoring all athletes, especially basketball players. So like it was like an epic block game. I can't remember what that game was called. I wonder what it was. I'd have to text like Tyler Dregney or something. Tournament that day, and so I got sidetracked, like played, and then I just kind of never got around to it, and then it was the end of the quarter, and I was like, hey, like, sorry, I never got to the animation part, and he was just like, oh no, you're farther than everyone else, like, hey. And I was just like, holy shit, dude.
Half-assed it when you could have quarter-assed it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely like full-assed it halfway, and then never got back around to it, because I mean, look, there was like shit to do. You had to,
Yeah.
and there, you know, there was board games.
You had to go
play,
win some computer games.
Yeah, you had to play online multiplayer Flash games and talk to Merrick Owen, who was a pro Battlefield player, and like I just had to talk about his tournaments that he played in the weekend before and all sorts of random shit. So, you know, stuff to do, man.
And we are going to give the entirety of half of our ass in episode 97 of the Voluntary Viewing podcast, recorded on May 17th, 2020. On the podcast today, we have the man who is the planner, the muscle, and the face of the Voluntary Viewing heist team, Andrew Clark.
I'm a one-man heist.
Yeah, it sounds like he's
no
doing
one,
everything.
No one wants to join my crew.
What do the rest of us do?
Oh, you're not on my heist crew. You wouldn't join. You thought my ideas were too dangerous.
Played by your own rules too much.
Yeah. Also, I hurt my back.
Also on the podcast today, we have the man on the inside, the acrobatics expert, and the tech expert, Ryan Holtz.
I feel like I got all the lamest ones. I got the Asian guy, which I'm not being racist. That is
that's
the trope, like in the acrobatics thing. Then the Asian guy, the tech guy, like once again, not being racist. This is literally the thing in movies. And then the man on the inside, I don't know, just some douchebag white guy, fucking lame, or like a woman. Whoa! I got all the lame roles.
So I imagine that in this heist, you would be the guy that was simultaneously asked to like stay in the van to like, I don't know, like chug Monster Energy drink and hack into the mainframe and
Spam a keyboard with random keystrokes.
Yeah, and when you you know, try to tell people what's going on, they just go like, "Speak our language, damn it," and then like also asked to like shimmy up the fucking air vents.
It's a bit of a juxtaposition. In English, please.
In English, please. In English, please.
English, please. Teach him you have to reteach him the language and everything.
When I press button, bad guys go sleep. In English, please.
And then, of course, rounding out this podcast / heist crew is me, the femme fatale, Lucas the writer.
No. Never mind.
Look, do we really
I'm
need
no
more
longer
than
the woman.
7 people, 7 roles in a heist? Like, I know we're shorthanded.
7 roles made up by 3 people.
You son of a bitch.
I mean, and you are going to be in News of the Week.
Whether you like it or not.
Get the fuck in there.
Open wide, kids.
Ugh.
Because I'm going to grape you in the mouth.
No. Let's not bring back Whitest Kids You Know
Remember
right
Whitest
now.
Kids You Know?
I remember.
Fucking jam. The lesser known ones were always the better ones, though. The ones that people loved in like middle school and high school are the lame ones. If you dig deeper, there's some really good ones.
How,
This following Kotaku article is going to be one of the lesser known ones in the future that is also one of the better ones.
Maybe Kotaku is still good after all, because I'm just going to read the actual title of this news story rather than try to summarize it in my own words. Samurai Showdown Twitter account walks back overly horny tweets.
What are the photo? What were the? Does anyone have an archive of the tweets?
I think it's in the article.
No.
Oh, shit.
No. I just see the one where they're like, "Hey,
Sorry.
we fucked up."
No, I don't have an archive, but it's my understanding that they introduced a new, intentionally sex appeal character, and yeah, we're just being brand horny for her on Twitter. It was
That's fun.
or uncomfortable.
Oh, we all horny on Maine tonight.
Yeah, that's the only one I can see, which not in tweet form, but they just said that they said that. So
Okay. So, look, I don't know the tweets, but controversial fucking opinion here. They're walking it back because the tweets were deemed offensive. Are they really pretending that they don't know what the fuck that character is that they just made? Come on! The character is offensive.
Yeah.
If people get offended by the tweets acknowledging that character, they should be offended by the character. The character is literally a sex fetish
Made.
fantasy made.
Yeah.
it's
with
a weird maid
ridiculous
that
proportions.
looks scared in the picture.
It's literally a
Are those
joke.
butterfly wings or something that she has on her?
I don't
even know, man.
So if you hear about the origins of Power Girl, it was basically a disgruntled comic book artist who was I wonder how ridiculous I can get with her chest before someone notices.
Yep.
And he got as far as he did, and then someone noticed it, and he had to walk it back ever so slightly, and now that's the Power Girl we all know today. This feels like what would happen if just no one ever said that's ridiculous.
They just kept going. They're one of these days, someone will notice.
Yeah,
And it just
seriously, you're
keeps
not.
going.
I don't think you're allowed to be offended by those tweets if you're not offended by the character itself. Those tweets are literally just saying what everyone already knew, right?
And
They're just describing the thing that they
Yeah.
put out in image form. They're whoa, dude, what the fuck?
Dude, that's fucked up. She's got depth.
She's a person. She has a mom and a dad.
Oh Lord.
don't. Well, you know what? Live your best life. But I do not plan on buying Samurai Showdown, and I especially do not plan on buying the anime titty ninja DLC.
Yeah. This Kotaku replacement scab guy or whatever.
Oh no, they're legit.
Oh, this guy's legit.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. It
never
was
mind.
Dead Spin where they're all scabs.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's just not Jason Schreier, so I'm not used to. I assume that anyone not named Jason Schreier from Kotaku is a shill scab loser replacement.
If you believe Reddit.
Ooh. I feel like Reddit would be anti-Jason Schreier. Are they seriously super positive Jason Schreier?
Generally, is my understanding.
Because Twitter is very much anti-Jason Schreier.
I mean, I think Twitter's anti-Kotaku, right?
Yeah.
Twitter's anti-everything at some point.
There's groups of Twitter that are anti-everything for sure.
Twitter is just a representation of the entropy that awaits us all.
Jesus, that's making a play for the title.
We'll see what happens later in this episode. Things can always get worse.
Speaking of later in the episode, Sony unveils the PlayStation Studios brand. We still don't know what the PS5 looks like or what games it'll play, though.
Wait, but so was your segue that it is now later in the episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Speaking of later in the episode, that's now. You gotta put a transition between there. Sony is just fucking.
In other news,
Yeah.
Sony unveiled PlayStation Studios, a thing that nobody asked for, and we don't know what it is.
Meanwhile-
I mean, I guess people are better on Sony and PlayStation now because Epic put out that tech demo saying it was Unreal Engine 5 running on a PlayStation 5, and people jacked it to that. So, now, I guess
That's all there is.
All those fucking triangles looked amazing,
Right?
Lucas. They just kept talking about how many triangles there were.
Do you see how bright some of those triangles looked, while other triangles looked really dark?
Like a trillion triangles, I think they said at one point.
God, so many triangles.
So I'm playing, recently I just re-downloaded a PlayStation 2 emulator, and what's it called? It was the first time that I had booted it back up for like 2 years, and it was like updated and everything. So a lot of the games, like I used to have a lot of graphical errors and be like, this is kind of iffy, but like they're fixed now.
Ooh.
And you can upres the textures to be up to like something ridiculous, like 16K.
Jesus.
And then obviously like display it in whatever resolution you want. But like I literally am playing PlayStation 2 games in 4K resolution, or
Holy
4K textures on 1080p resolution. And it is like, this would blow people's minds. Like, this would absolutely fuck them up if they were to see what we live in nowadays. So, yeah, that makes a big difference. The more triangles, the better, I say.
I mean, since you mentioned PlayStation 2, I feel like we just have to go right in it. Skyheads rejoice! Tony Hawk 1 and 2 are getting a remaster.
Yeah. I remember the grinds.
Yeah.
Grinding around and around in like an infinite grind to try to get more points. It's like the only thing I remember from Pro Skater. Playing it at my cousin's house and trying to beat him.
Am I?
Yeah, I also never owned Pro Skater, but I would always play it at friend's house, and that shit was fun.
Hell yeah. Am I crazy, or was the title theme to these games the song Amoeba, but every time they would say Amoeba, they replaced it with Tony Hawk?
I do not remember that.
Okay.
No idea.
I might be crazy.
I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm just saying I would not have remembered that detail.
I also think rumor has it that this is going to be like a $40 price point, so I might pick this up. You know?
Wow.
I don't know.
There you go.
Is it going to be one bundle, like Pro Skater 1 and 2 as one $40 purchase, or
Correct.
each one of them is going to be $40? Okay.
Collectively 40. Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of a cheat code to use the original soundtrack though on this. That was just such fucking nostalgia bait. Like they knew this is how you get them back.
Apparently the band Goldfinger has been out saying that like being in the Tony Hawk games just made their fucking career.
Yeah. I mean, that was back in the day, that was how it worked, man.
Yeah.
I remember Madden and all those games would always go to like, you know, up and coming
Smaller
artists
time,
because they
yeah.
were cheaper,
Mhm.
and it would literally make bands famous. Like I one of the PS2 games that I'm playing is Madden 07, and I was just listening to the soundtrack and I was like, holy shit, nostalgia. But also like 30 Seconds to Mars is on there, and like all sorts of like random bands that are like that actually they kind of gained some notoriety, and obviously 30 Seconds to Mars for other reasons as well. But
So you're saying Madden 07 is responsible for Jared Leto?
well, Jared Leto was definitely in movies before Madden 07 came out.
We
But
wouldn't have had the Joker if it wasn't for Madden 07.
it all goes back to Madden 07 with Sean Alexander on the cover.
Well,
Also, I found updated rosters, and let me tell you, Lamar Jackson versus Michael Vick in Madden 07 is pretty fun. Like, that is the crossover event that everyone wanted.
Anything happening in TV and or film?
I don't think
there
so.
you have it.
All right, fair enough. So I included this next one in other because it's fun. Somebody apparently wrote a walkthrough for the video game Persona 2, which deals with a lot of occult stuff. Persona 2 came out, I believe, in like 2004, I want to say. But since then became a born-again Christian and amended their walkthrough. And I think it would be fun if we traded off reading paragraphs of this amendment.
Oh.
You guys down for this?
Sure.
What tone should we be taking on? Just as a hint.
I'll start, and you guys just kind of take it with the tone that you think appropriate for the writing.
All right.
We'll go me, Ryan, Andrew. Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Just like Spanish class.
Years after originally writing and posting this guide, I now take moral offense at this game and would prefer that neither this guide nor the game exist. The only reason I have not removed this guide is I had submitted it under contract that I'd be allowed to stay on the game FAQ site. Their staff has been very helpful to me, and I hope that my petitions and comments may eventually reach someone who can remove it.
My complaints against this game are against its glorification of demons and evil spirits, and also against its promotion of witchcraft through tarot and other means. Tarot card divination, fortune-telling is expressly witchcraft. Both of these blaspheme against the Almighty God, Jesus.
Promotion of demon worship and witchcraft is common across Japanese-produced media,
Jesus.
including anime and video games, and therefore I would caution anyone who is aware of these dangers to beware of these two mediums as a whole. However, I will only comment on a few more lies found within this game.
1. Who's the most powerful demon/persona in Shin Megami Tensei Persona games?
Oh, should you just read this whole one, or no?
Yeah, go for it.
There's only like one sentence.
Now we'll do every break, yeah.
Okay. The devil's Satan, not Lucifer. That's not really a name for the devil.
Okay.
Only has what authority Jesus gives him. In other words, the devil is a wimp.
At the end of time, the devil and all fallen angels and all wicked humans will be permanently destroyed. Gone. No sin will be in the kingdom.
Contrary to popular belief, dying is not cool.
2. Since all the Persona games have their own little end-of-the-world stories, which are false, I think you should know the way it will really end.
First, the end time son. What? First, the end time son of perdition will be revealed in a strong delusion in God's temple in heaven.
30 days later will be the huge invasion of the Gog-Magog War, which is Russia, China, Syria, and Iran successfully invading the rest of the world.
That lasts for 1,260 days. Then the next 45 days consist of the death of the two witnesses, the first resurrection, quote, seventh trumpet, and the wrath of God at the same time as the marriage supper in heaven.
On the 1335th day, Jesus Christ returns to establish his kingdom on earth, destroys the son of perdition and the false prophet, and imprisons Satan and his fallen angels until the second resurrection, which is another opportunity for all unsaved to repent towards God and achieve eternal life.
I wish I had known about the curse on this game and the many others like it. Where were all the hundreds of millions of Christians while I was playing these games? They must be a bunch of fakes because I never heard a single warning. Well, consider yourself informed. And if you don't believe the warning, then believe because of the consequences. There really is a curse for disobedience. I pray more people will wake up to the reality of the evil in this world and stop supporting it.
Now, when they heard this, they were pierced to the heart, and said to Peter and the rest of the apostles, Brethren, what shall we do?
Peter said to them, Repent, and each of you be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of your sins, and you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit.
Acts 2:37-38.
And many of those who practiced magic brought their books together and began burning them in the sight of everyone. And they counted up the price of them and found it 50,000 pieces of silver.
Acts 19:19. What the fuck is this shit?
It is a total shitpost. Come on.
Like, this is
No way that is written in with any legitimacy. It is a golden shitpost, but it is
it is so good.
Why would they shitpost where no one would see it, though?
They did see it. Look at this. It's on Kotaku.
A freelance writer found it, and all right, okay. You know what?
No.
It's on Kotaku.
They didn't put it on Kotaku. Some guy on Kotaku found it. But
they people post on forums. It's what they do, and sometimes they like to shitpost.
But I mean, I have relatives and like friends of friends who have unironically posted shit that is all too similar to this. Let me tell you, it is not ironic. If you know how ironic or unironic this is, I don't know yet. But people post shit like this in like wholeheartedly all the time.
So first of all, yeah, but also like it's very explicitly stated in the Bible that no one knows how the world is going to end, and like no one knows when or anything like that. Like
that doesn't stop like hundreds of thousands of people in believing specific weirdly specific things like, yeah, China, Syria, Russia, and Iran are going to invade the rest of the world for 1,260 days. Duh.
That's
and then for the next 45 days, the two witnesses will die, and then there's the first resurrection, which is the seventh trumpet. Like, that
was when I fell off the train into shitpost territory. There was the whole Japanese-produced media, like, always worshipping demons, and I was like, ooh, woo lad, like, this is starting to get a little problematic. Here we go.
Did you guys ever read The Unlikely Disciple in college?
No.
Okay, I read it for a class, and it's a story of, I mean, it's not a story, like, it's a journalistic account of, like, a couple years ago, this grad student from, I want to say, like Boston University, went to Liberty University, undercover, basically, for a semester, and made, like, a, what do you call it? Like a survey report of what it's like being at like one of these ultra Christian universities, and like a specific class was like end of the world studies, and everyone in class like did their own quote unquote research and like again quote unquote discovered what the end of the world would be and when it was going to happen. It's crazy. They're like, if you read in this section, clearly you can figure out that this is what's going to happen, and every single time it's like, yeah, it's going to be like 5 to 20 years from now. People have been saying that for like 2,000 years.
Damn.
But like their stories are so specific, and then he's like, how did you reach that conclusion? And they're like, well, obviously in this reading from the Bible it mentions this one thing, so that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. People are crazy.
Okay, my two thoughts on this. One, I kind of been operating under the assumption that born-again Christians are just kind of like a polite way of saying somebody is in a Christian cult. Am I off base with that?
For the most part, that's... Yeah, I mean, born-again Christians and like hardcore evangelical Christians are... I would say that because there's no organized like centrality between them, you can't really say that they're all the same thing. Some of them are literally just like, we got our own ideas, but most of them are like hardcore drink the Kool-Aid Christian cults. Yeah.
And then my other thought was that whether this was genuine or a shitpost, that was a fantastic table read, and we got to try to do this more often.
We got to do one with characters so we can all add our own little flourish.
Yeah, I got to break out the thespian in me.
Yeah. Break back into the broof.
Oh, no.
My wife has been kidnapped.
No.
Never again? Do you guys ever get it recommended to you on YouTube?
Yeah.
You ever watch it, Andrew?
No.
Wait. You have never watched The Adventures of
Oh,
Drew?
no. I watched
Okay.
all of the episodes once.
Okay. There are
What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I watch it every once in a while. If it comes up, recommend it.
genuine comments on some of those videos now.
No,
Yeah.
What?
it's getting discovered.
Are any of them like, when's the next part of the series coming?
I kind of. Some of them are like, oh, wow, this is a really good blend between Let's Play and a bridged series. I hope you guys make more.
We need a recasting on Brew.
Remember how we
Andrew's
recorded
never going to get back into those shoes.
No. Yeah, I will. If we did it, I'd fucking do it. I don't think I could pass that up. Remember how we all recorded lines for Skyrim Abridged and then never recorded any gameplay?
I had so much fun with that. Are those lines still around?
we went into a legitimate sound booth.
Yeah,
I think I still have those,
scrounged together for us. We never did anything with it. You know, things just got kind of crazy.
Yeah, senior year. Got busy. Got a girlfriend. Life happened.
There are 0 comments on these videos, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Don't mean to call you out, but there are literally.
I remember
none.
seeing a
clicked through the whole
dude
series.
comment. I saw a comment. Maybe they delete. All right.
Or it was like a bot that was going around to every single video posting the exact same comment.
It was
That's
weirdly specific. It was too specific to be a bot, I thought, but all right.
There's bots out there, man. They're pretty good.
Bots be wildin'. And we be going into the meme corner. Any memes?
Have there been any memes?
I don't think there's been any memes ever. I think memes are a myth.
That's
Like the Loch Ness Monster in North Dakota. Sheen,
I'm
the
scrolling
patron
through.
saint of voluntary viewing.
You're right. There are no comments on these videos
Yeah,
anymore.
no, I went to every single one.
But I'm with Lucas. I do remember there being comments at one point on some of these videos. Not a lot. but a
Hashtag
few.
I'm with Lucas.
You're on the winning team, Andrew.
Do you want to be on the right side of history? Hashtag I'm with Lucas.
Look, man, history is written by winners, and I'm not saying we're going to be the winners, but we are going to have the moral high ground here.
Are you a sheep or a shark?
History's written by winners, they say. Interesting. I feel like there's a certain thing that happens a day before the podcast recording. It's been going a certain way for 3 weeks in a row now. I don't know.
You about
Is it written by winners or what's going down?
Well, you pull ahead in poker because the people you're playing against are generally too cowardly to call you out when you're fronting a shit hand. And yeah, then once you get a sizable lead, you just bully people out of the game. And you know what? Yeah, you have won 3 times in a row because of that.
Okay, so 2 times ago, I definitely did not get ahead. You have no one to blame but yourself for the very first one of the winning streak.
That's fair.
'Cause that was very much me scratching and clawing and not able to bullshit anyone because you had way more chips than me and pulling it out. The last 2 times, I will admit, definitely a little bit more. A lot of bullshit, and for some reason, no one ever calling me. For some reason, when we first started playing, though, people called everything. You could not get away with a bluff at all.
No.
And now it's like way too far the other way. Way too far.
I'm going to try to nut up these next couple of games. I'm hungry for that W.
Shut up.
And that'll take us into the breakouts.
I finished Samurai Champloo earlier today.
Wow.
How did those last 3 episodes make up for the baseball episode?
I mean, it definitely removed the taste of the baseball episode from my mouth. But I mean, I don't know how I feel about this show because I don't think it's good.
No.
I think it's a show that I kind of enjoyed, but like superficially. Like I think it was aesthetically cool. I think it was kind of fun. You know, like it was a nice little adventure tale, but there was like nothing really going on like for the series as a whole. Like they didn't really ever give you reasons to care about any of the characters. Nobody like grew at all. It was just kind of like every once in a while they'd have an episode that was like a little more focused on one of them, but still like wouldn't give you a reason to care about them. And then at the end of it, it's just like, oh, and then there's this guy who's coming to kill him. Remember that one thing that they mentioned 7 episodes ago about this thing that happened 10 years ago and then no one ever brought it up again? They're back to kill him. Like, okay, it's weird. And they're like, let's introduce this character. He's the Hand of God because he's such a good swordsman. And then he just like says a couple of lines and then like gets fucking iced.
He gets iced in a pretty cool way, though.
Yeah, no, it was cool. But again, it was just like superficially fun. It wasn't good.
And
then the characters are just like, all right, we'll go our separate ways now. In Cowboy Bebop, they gave you reasons to like care about these characters. In Samurai Champloo, there were reasons to like root for them because they're like, oh, like that's cool. But that's it. Like there was just like a cool factor in there. I don't really think it had anything of substance. And so like I'm not gonna say like I'm mad that I watched it because I enjoyed it. It was fun. But like I don't think I would have really anything to like if someone asked me to try to sell this show to like recommend it to someone, I don't really know if I could do a very good job other than saying like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. There's like samurais and shit.
I mean, you could just repeat what I said, but it's Cowboy Bebop by Kurosawa instead of Star Wars.
No, but like, well, for one thing, I don't really think it lives up to Cowboy Bebop.
That's fair.
Like, but like, yeah, you did a good job of selling it, but you just sold it on the superficial shit. You even said like there's not really a plot.
No.
There's no story. It's just like kind of fun, and it is. And so, like, if someone's like, hey, convince me to watch this show, that's what I would say. But I don't think I would be like, oh, man, this is so good. Like, you got to see it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I applaud you. You got me to watch it, and I enjoyed it. And it lived up exactly to what you said it would be. I didn't go in there expecting there to be some sort of, overarching plot when there wasn't. So I commend you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, at least. Do you think you'll follow up with Castlevania next?
I'm debating because I know you guys also want me to watch What We Do in the Shadows. So
actually, that would be a really fun simul watch for you.
What We Do in the Shadows?
No. If you rotated one episode of What We Do in the Shadows, one episode of Castlevania.
Yeah, very vampire-y.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a shot.
They're both great. Brian, what are you checking out?
I haven't watched any Castlevania in a long time. Still watching What We Do in the Shadows when it comes out. Playing PlayStation 2 games and Call of Duty Warzone. Last night, with a couple of high school buddies, we had been really struggling. Like, I think Thursday was the last time that we had played together. Maybe even Wednesday. And, like, we literally played 5 matches where we could barely get 1 or 2 kills. And then we'd die because we were just in insanely sweaty lobbies. And then we stopped playing for 2 days because we were, like, fed up and had other stuff going on, whatever else.
Right.
And we came back last night and were put in the most garbage lobbies I have played in a long time. Like, since it was us 3 and we had that one win where Andrew drove around in the car at the end. That was the level of lobbies that we were playing with. And, like, the 2 guys that I play with are as good as I am, and we fucking curb stomped. Like, the first match, we ended up with 28 kills as a team and took 3rd place because we just, like, would be over, like, stretching ourselves, like, going way too hard and, dying and shit. So, basically, what we ended up doing is the next match we played it a little more casually. I think we still had like 25 kills and we won easily. Like it ended up being a 3-on-1, so it was just like walked into a win. And we were like, all right, well, and the whole time like they were having fun, and I was like, yeah, I'm having fun, but like I know there's gonna be hell to pay for this. Like the algorithm is not gonna like the fact that we did this. Literally the next match, I had 0 damage. I think we had 1 team as a kill, or 1 kill as a team. And then, like, the next couple matches, it was basically the same thing, and we quit for the night. All right. Well, that's all there is there.
So I have a question for you is it fair to say fairly hardcore Warzone player?
I mean, yeah, like above average.
Yeah.
Not quite good. Definitely, like, just an above average Warzone player, sure.
What more do you want from the game at this point?
I don't know. Want to win? I don't know what to tell you, man.
But like they have to do an expansion sooner or later to keep player bases from weaning off. Like what would be a good expansion to this game? What would be a good way to change things up? Like
take away skill-based matchmaking.
I want to rephrase that question with a section A or a section B. Would you rather have gliders or a Travis Scott concert in Warzone?
So I'd rather have the PUBG expansion or the Fortnite expansion, is what you're asking? I thought the Travis Scott concert was pretty cool. Like
no, we talked about that. Like, we all thought it was going to be like super lame, and then we saw it. And we're like, okay,
it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
like, I was not opposed to that. Yeah. So I don't know how to phrase this, but I played probably upwards of 25 days of Call of Duty Black Ops 1, maybe 30, and if you count zombies, way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with like repeating the same maps. Like multiplayer shooters, there's so many different situations that you can get in. Like they kind of don't lose their luster for me, like in comparison with other games. Like every single corner that you round could end up, being a new situation, a new experience. And so even if they don't like expand the map or anything like that, I would be totally fine just continuing to play. If I could wave a magic wand, it would be to remove skill-based matchmaking entirely. Keep in like a protection for new players so that like, people can not get utterly stomped by veterans when they first play their first games. But other than that, just literally keep it completely random. Like sometimes you might run into a good team, sometimes you might run into a bad team, and it's just all in one big melting pot. Like I don't hate playing against good players. I just hate it when it's only good players. It's very frustrating. Like, because when it's only good players, I'm usually the worst. Like I am at the very bottom of like the good tier. So it's going to be disgusting.
You know that if you were truly playing against an average of players, you would make it to probably the top 10 every time.
No.
Oh.
I don't think so. No.
Oh.
If I was playing against a truly average of players, I might die immediately because a good team lands on top of me and wipes me out. Or I might not ever face a good team and I just walk into victory. Like, it should be random, like old Call of Duties. You never know.
Oh,
like,
okay. I get you now.
You'd hop in a lobby and sometimes you'd play against bad players and sometimes you'd be good players and you have to sweat really hard to try to win. And, like, it's just random. That's like, the whole joy of it. I don't know. It's a whole thing. So that's the only thing that I wish that they would remove. I understand how they're saying that, if you just got stomped repeatedly, you'd want to leave. But at a certain point, like, I don't know, if you're bad after playing for, like, 3 days worth of playtime, like, is there any hope for you? Like, do we really need to protect you? Like, you're either going to keep being bad.
Or you're on your own now, son.
Or you're going to leave. Like, I don't know what to say. So.
No, that's fair.
I don't know. And I feel like sometimes it's a real struggle to, like, keep some of the people that I'm playing with having fun because I feel like I might drag up the lobbies and then, like, sure, I might be able to get a kill or two, but then some of the people, maybe not. And it's frustrating, I'm sure. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's tough out there for a pimp.
Jeez.
And this pimp doesn't know if he has anything to contribute to the breakout. It's been pretty occupied getting prepped for moving into my new apartment, and that's eating up most of my time. I'm playing more of Final Fantasy VII Remake on hard mode, which is a difficulty level you unlock after you beat the game. The way the game does it, though, is that playing it on hard mode, you're going to see new content, have some new fights available that you didn't on the first playthrough. And this is very much an RPG, and they decided to disable items entirely on hard mode. Mm-hmm. And I think I hate that.
Why are you playing it then?
So I can kill the Dragon King Bahamut, Andrew. That's why.
Yeah, Andrew.
Oh, how foolish of me.
Yeah, you forgot about Dragon King Bahamut.
Forgive me, please, Weeb Master Lucas.
You are not forgiven.
You have repented and therefore are forgiven. Say 14 Hail Marys and... or no, Hail... Oh, shit, Weeb. Hail
waifus.
Hail, oh, what'd you say?
Hail waifus?
I was thinking more like Hatsune.
Oh.
Hail Mikus.
Yep, Hail Mikus.
Hail Mikus.
That'd be a good one.
Apparently a Hatsune Miku rhythm game came out on Switch. Andrew, you could play that after you finish The Witcher.
Yeah, Andrew, you could play that. Why aren't you doing that right now?
This
Because
goddamn
The
second.
Witcher.
Well.
Oh yeah, another thing in the breakouts. So, still playing The Witcher. You know, I didn't really want to do like a weekly update thing that, you know, Lucas does when he plays video games, because I'm not very good at describing my experiences in video games. But I got to the point where I swear to God, I was 1,000% certain this was the end of the game. It leads up to the story of the game so far is trying to follow these leads to find your long-lost surrogate daughter. And, you know, she's being chased by, you know, the Wild Hunt, which is a thing that I'm not going to get into because it's a convoluted world that's very, very dense and deep, the same way that Game of Thrones is, and I just don't want to take that time. But you find out where she is, but before you reach her, you know that as soon as you get her, people are going to know where she is, and then you're going to have to go basically hunker down and then fight the people that come for her. And so before you go and grab her from where you know she is, you go around to all the places in the game that you visited so far, and either through story missions or through side quests, recruit the people that have become your friends.
Okay.
You know, it's very much textbook, you know, preparing for the final battle, blah, 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 blah. And then, so you go, you grab Ciri, you go back to your, you know, Witcher fortress where every one of your friends has gathered to support you because, you know, fucking brothers for life and shit. All your mage girlfriends are there.
All the waifus.
All the waifus. And, you know, you talk to each other and you figure out the plan. The battle happens and it's done. Or so you think. And then some shit happens and it's not to the end of the game. And I have played another 10 hours since then.
Wow.
Because, you know, spoiler alert, if you guys ever play The Witcher 3, which I recommend, it doesn't go according to plan, the battle. And then there's other shit you have to do. And so it's not a frustrating situation the way that, you know, Death Stranding was. Like, I welcome this. Like, this is a really good game. And, you know, they kind of progressed the story in a way that made sense. They didn't just go like, oh, now there's this other thing. Like, there were loose ends that hadn't really been tied up yet that you then go have to take care of. And then you learn more about what's actually been happening while you do so. And it's been pretty good so far. But I don't think I'm really that close to being done. I kind of cheated a little and looked at the list of story missions, and that battle was the end of the second act. And there's 3 acts.
So you have roughly 33% more game left.
Yeah. So the first act is very, very long. It's the longest part of the game. The second act is not that long, if I had to just really guess hours, because I don't think there's a way to see how much you've been playing, I would say that the first act is like 40-ish hours, and then the second act is more like 20 hours, and I've put about 10 hours into the third act so far, and I don't think I'm that close to being done. And I'm not I fucking love this game.
Okay.
Like, it's really, really good. I can see why people ranted and raved about this for the last 5 years. It's just really, really good, guys.
I'm glad you're enjoying everything that it's giving you, even if it's more than expected.
So yeah.
All right.
I was messaging Lucas kind of like the night before I, played the final mission. I'm like, okay, I'm coming up to the last mission of the game. The Last of Us comes out in basically a month. Should I pick up another game in between there, or should I just watch a couple of TV shows? What should I do? And it was kind of like, oh, here's some things you could do, blah, 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 blah. And then the next day I'm like, never mind.
There you go.
And that'll take us into the group chat. It's kind of hard to do the group chat when we have the quarantine cast.
Yeah. Ryan has no updates for Castlevania.
Nope.
I could rave about Jackie Daytona for like 20 minutes, but I feel like
let's not do that.
It'd be nice if, what's it called? Andrew caught up within the next week. Then we could have a real good group chat.
Andrew, Ryan, do you? I'm seeing this opinion emerge more online lately. Do you think that season 2 of What We Do in the Shadows is far and away better than season 1?
I wouldn't say far and away, but I'd say it's better.
Yeah.
My favorite episode is definitely the Colin Robinson Colin's promotion episode.
Is beating out the Baron?
Baron's Night Out, it's good. Baron's Night Out is good, but I think Colin's promotion is my favorite.
I would say that the show really clicked with me like it did with you, so I'm hesitant to say that season 1 was as hit or miss for me as it sounds like it was for other people. But, I mean, yeah, I can't think of an episode of season 2 that I just kind of glossed over. It's definitely ramping up.
Yeah. It's been less Guillermo, I will say. I mean, I guess they've been more character-focused, these episodes. It hasn't been as ensemble-y.
That's fair.
There hasn't been as many, like, A and B plots. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess there was B plots in both of these episodes.
There's a very minor episode, B plot in...
Yeah, Jackie Daytona was definitely pretty focused on Jackie Daytona.
Jackie Daytona was the star of the show.
Yeah, there wasn't too much going on outside of his plot line. But Colin's promotion, they had the curse and everything. Great.
Yeah. Sports still aren't happening for the most part, at least sports that matter.
What are you talking about? NASCAR's back, Lucas.
Wait, like actual NASCAR? Or they're still doing the virtual cups?
No, there was like a race today.
I feel bad for those pit crews then. Okay.
Yeah, no fans, but, full pit crews and all that stuff.
They're allowed to die.
That is true.
Wisconsin is still open, which is infuriating, although it sounds like counties are implementing their own slapdash policies against that, and it's
some
not
counties,
enough.
Like Madison and Milwaukee are, still under the same guidelines, but most of the rest of the state, from my understanding, was immediately like, all right, back to normal, everyone.
Phew.
Yeah, thank God that's over. I'm glad the Supreme Court ended coronavirus.
Yeah, the Supreme Court struck it down with their mighty gavels.
You're unconstitutional, coronavirus. Like, well, I can't go up against the law.
Yeah.
So long as none of them city folk come up to our counties, we should be fine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How are they going to get any more specific? They're going to have to go to municipalities soon. And then it's just going to be like the HOA is going to have a specific like set of rules.
How far down can we pass the buck?
Yeah. They can't go any more granular after a certain point. And then it's just like, we expect every American household to make their own
decision.
Yeah. You must make your own laws that people in your household must follow.
There are no more fucking rules.
Castle doctrine, here we go.
There's no government like anymore at all. It's literally just each. All right, well, you're gonna have to start a trade deal with your neighbors so that you can properly negotiate for supplies and food.
Like roaming bands of like bandits and like also like peacekeepers and shit. Join the Commonwealth.
I mean, look, that's the logical. Like, I have seen a lot of that, like conservatives falling down and being like, "It's on the states. It's the states' responsibility," and it's like, first of all, like, okay, like they're probably going to need some sort of coordination because of all the things that have happened lately. And then second of all, yeah, like, you could just keep passing the buck all the way down, and eventually we're just not going to have government anymore.
Right.
Like, if it's the state's responsibility, then you shouldn't be in charge.
God,
it should just be a loose band of states under, like, what was the thing before the Constitution? Articles of Confederation.
Yes,
yeah,
damn it.
You should just be under the Articles of Confederation, and you're not even really a country. You're just a loose band of states. Like,
it's just a bunch of vassal states of the greater America.
Ooh, what's the greater state if we're all vassal states?
I assume America. Oh, you mean like who's
vassal states work?
Oh, okay. You're saying like so if America is an empire of vassal states, what's the head honcho?
Yeah.
I mean. Ooh, this is where the plan comes apart because
exactly. Well, California has the most sway, but I feel like
I was going to say
New York is going to be in like I'm unique position because the Eastern Seaboard and everything.
I'm looking at time.gov, and I feel like what would more likely happen is that you'd have just 3 or 4 little chunks of states. You got the California-headed Pacific West Coast, and then stretching out to maybe like Idaho and Utah and Colorado. And then Texas would have its own little area.
Texas would be Texas.
Right.
They might grab Oklahoma, but
I was going to say, you don't think Texas would try to take like Arkansas and Kansas?
Texas is on its own power grid, so they could literally subsist on their own.
I definitely think the flyover central states are going to band together to form a Center America or something dumb.
I feel like places like Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin would try to be like, okay, guys, we've got the Great Lakes here. Let's try to like make a little coalition. And then New York would just be like, nuh-uh, you're us now.
Look at me, German.
Like, you only have a little bit of the Great Lakes connected to you, New York. And they're like, yeah, but we're fucking New York.
We're New fucking York, bitches.
We have a city and then a bunch of farmland rich people live in. What are you going to do?
You don't want to fuck with Buffalo.
Yeah, that's New York City is like the super verbose mob boss, like dressed to the nines. And there's just like this fucking crazy dude, like foaming at the mouth, like barely, like clearly nonverbal. And it's just
covered in ketchup and mustard.
Yeah. New York City is just like, you don't want to fuck with Buffalo. And Buffalo like jerks its head to the side and starts looking you in the eyes, and you're like, holy shit. I do not want to fuck with Buffalo. New York is right.
They got their boy Albany just waiting in the reserves in case Buffalo fucks up.
Albany's got a lead pipe, and he's not like super muscular, but you can tell he works out. I don't really want to fuck with that one either.
Like, if I had to choose between him and Buffalo, I'd definitely go with Albany.
Yeah.
I don't really
Albany
want
seems
to choose.
like he would at least have some mercy and end it quickly. Buffalo seems like he'd be eating my liver before I die. Well, I'm still conscious.
New Jersey's just on the floor in a gimp suit.
Oh, man. Good old states.
What would Wisconsin be if it was a person? I know the answer, but I
Dead.
want to see if you guys can get it. Yeah.
Not even a personality trait. It's just fat people. And it's not even accurate. Like, we're not even that obese of a state, but, like, it just fits,
That's
right?
a perception,
yeah.
yep.
Beer, brats, cheese curds, everything. But
The
like,
whole culture revolves around what will make you fat.
yeah. I think we're, like, pretty much right down the middle. Like, we're straight up average in terms of obesity rates, but... Yeah.
It's still not good. Like, average in terms of American obesity rates is not good.
Well, it's not good, but then, like, every state would be fat if we just did it by that, because Wisconsin's pretty average. Everyone but Colorado.
Mm.
And probably, like, Hawaii or some shit. I don't know. I know Colorado's the healthiest, but that's about it.
And that is about it for this podcast, because we are going into the wind down. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 97 of the Voluntary Viewing podcast. If you like what you heard, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a rating, all the stuff depending on what platform you are listening to this episode on. If you'd like to send us your questions or business opportunities, please email us at voluntaryviewing@gmail.com. Also be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at V2_podcast and support us on Patreon if you are financially able to. You'll be joining the terrific likes of Tiffany Cole, Sucky Badger, and sensual Richard Nixon. My name is Lucas DeRuyter. I too have a Twitter account at Lucas DeRuyter, and if you follow me on there, you can read such excellent tweets like, now that the Tony Hawk games are getting a remaster, I can finally be honest with myself and all of you. I like ska.
You just think that no one would notice that?
We all know this, Lucas.
I mean, you two...
You wear
because-
too many checkered clothing. We know that you like ska.
God, I look great in that checkered clothing. I mean, you guys know it. Internet people, though, internet friends, I don't know if they know it. But now they do. Because I let the Dutes into my heart.